Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Stats and Chats. I'm Jason.
And I'm Bella. This week, we'll be giving you some of our favorite sports stories from this week, as well as World Series and Masters predictions. So, bing, bang, boom. Let's get started.
Right. We're back. Took a week off.
Yeah.
Busy.
Busy.
That's Frosty the Snowman. I think we've
Busy.
That's the one. But we're excited to be back. A lot going on. A lot has happened. A lot is coming up. Excited to dive into it. But first, what did you think of the national championships?
Very entertaining.
Which one was more entertaining to you?
Well, I watched more of the men's.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But both were entertaining.
Yeah, I thought I didn't get to watch much of the tournament this year. I'm not quite sure why. It just didn't happen. But got to watch a decent amount of both national championships. I was really excited for the women's game. Easter Sunday, obviously, middle of the day. And I wish it was a little bit more competitive. I really thought South Carolina was going to come out of their win against UConn and be all kinds of fired up. But UCLA was just dominant. So kudos to them. They crushed it. And then on the men's side, I was rooting for UConn. And Hurley and the team just continuing their dominance after the upset win over Duke, or comeback win over Duke.
Yeah.
But Michigan, some big men playing at Michigan. That front line,
so
crazy,
tall.
2 7-footers.
So tall.
But it was a good game.
Yeah.
Up till the end. Congrats to UCLA and Michigan for great seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about tonight?
Yes.
What are we doing tonight?
Going to a Cubs game.
Going to the Cubs game.
Yes.
Pretty awesome, man.
I'm so excited.
Opening week in Tampa. And
where are we sitting again?
We're sitting on the third base side, past third base.
So between third and home?
No,
or
between third and kind of the left field corner.
Okay, that's low-key peak.
That's why I got the tickets. I was looking at all the options.
Wait,
and I said, which ones are going to be low-key peak? These.
Okay, stop making fun of me. Is that like the Cubs section, or are we going to be sitting in the middle of a bunch of Rays fans?
It's obviously it's the stadium in Tampa, so there's not a designated visitor section necessarily that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Although there could be for a variety of different reasons, but we are sitting with a section of Cubs fans because after the Bears' successful season, I started following a couple of Chicago sports clubs.
And that's
Tampa and Orlando.
Yeah.
And they actually organized this between the two cities.
I see.
And so they have the whole section.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're with Cubs fans.
That's chill.
Except for your aunt and uncle.
Wait, they're coming?
Yeah.
Oh. Thought it was just Grammy.
And they are Rays fans.
Thought it was just Grammy and Papa.
Nope.
Oh. Well, that's fine. I don't care about them.
Well, okay.
Because they won't scream at me. I just don't want
you're not going to have anybody screaming at you.
I just don't want some grumpy old men that are Rays fans being like,
Are you gonna
boo.
Run after foul balls? Like the fan last night?
You never know.
Did you see that? You didn't watch that video, did you?
No.
Okay. You should watch it.
Wait. So, third and left corner? I see.
So
I wish we were out so that I could get a home run ball.
I mean, a foul ball is good too. But you should really watch that video. It happened last night, and you don't want to be that person. That's all I'm going to say.
Were they pushing people?
No. It was a victimless crime.
Victimless crime?
It was a victimless crime.
So no one was hurt?
except for this individual. Just say.
Oh wait, is this the video that you
yes?
sent
Let's
earlier?
just say
I didn't have the chance.
Even though it's enclosed, there was a full moon. Inside Tropicana.
Okay, we got it. We got the memo.
There was no sighting of.
We got the memo.
There was no sighting of Artemis 2, but let's just say other aspects of space were inside the building. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited. We're gonna head out right after we record. So very cool. Yeah, kicking off baseball season.
And I get to wear my new shirt.
I know. You could also wear your Bears jersey. No.
Why would I do that?
So much Chicago gear.
I do have more.
It's nice.
I am gaining.
Yes, I know. It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
All right, so Cubs game coming up tonight. You ready to dive in?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure. So this week, I kind of wanted to explore a little bit of the team dynamic between the Mercedes drivers and why they're doing so well, excluding the fact that they obviously have one of the best cars. So focusing on that aspect rather than the actual car. So for some context, Kimi, who's their second driver, he's 19. And George Russell is 28.
Yes.
So got a 9-year age gap there.
Yes.
Pretty big. And when I was doing my research a little bit, the main thing that I wanted to explore is, does it have an impact on why they're driving so good as a team, better than other teams like Ferrari and McLaren? So the overall constructor scores so far, Mercedes has 135 points, Ferrari has 90, and McLaren has 46. So there's a big gap between all of those, but primarily between Mercedes and Ferrari. So number 1 and number 2 already.
Sure.
This is Kimi and George's second season driving together. So they started last season, and that's the same as Ferrari because obviously Kimi replaced Lewis Hamilton, who went to Ferrari with Charles Leclerc. So, yeah. Some similarities that I found is George Russell went through the same Mercedes junior program that Kimi did, and Russell got his permanent seat in 2022. He had done one race before that, but not as a permanent driver, just as like someone they wanted to, showcase a little bit. Mercedes has previously won 8 consecutive constructors in a row. 2014 through 2021, and obviously this was like Hamilton's era. So yeah, and what I found was obviously there's such a big gap between the drivers. Neither one wants to be outperformed. Obviously, you want to be the best if you're doing F1, but they have a very professional kind of mentorship relationship, obviously because of the age gap and the fact that it's only Kimi's second season, while George has been doing it for a little bit longer.
Sure.
And was previously mentored under Hamilton. He has a lot of that experience and is able to mentor Kimi a little bit, which I thought was really interesting. I also think the reason that their constructors' scores are doing so well is because they're competitive. Obviously, like I said earlier, they don't want the other one to outperform them, especially Kimi, who's still trying to prove himself at this point. You want to be the best. And so I think that's really pushing them to both finish so high every single race. And looking into Mercedes as a team, so not even the driver specifically, Toto, who's like the manager guy, what I've seen is that's different from other teams is they're specifically trying to avoid the toxic rivalry that often comes with having a number 1 and a number 2 driver.
Right.
You can see this with McLaren, obviously. Not as much with Ferrari. McLaren's the main one, but it's very present, especially when you have 2 drivers that are very good.
Yeah.
So you don't really see it in Red Bull, for example, because obviously they have Max, and then their number 2 kind of just bounces around a little bit. So you don't have that same thing, but in teams where you have 2 really good drivers, that tends to foster a place for that toxicity. Is that a word?
It is. Good one.
Let's freaking go. But what I've seen is that Toto has given attention to both drivers and continued to treat Russell with some superiority, even though Kimi has won more races.
Yes.
So Russell still has the number one seat.
Yeah.
He's still being shown that priority, which I think is helping to make it less toxic because Kimi's still learning. He's still not as consistent as Russell is. So making sure that Toto's giving them both equal connection, that'll get rid of that toxic rivalry, which can often impact how they're both driving. So they're not crashing into each other, trying to get by each other, that kind of thing, which I think Toto has done a really good job at. And obviously, they're getting more competitive as Kimi's winning more than Russell is, which can be problematic, especially because he's still so young and, George is already 28.
Yes.
So you're not going to be doing it forever. And Kimi has a lot more time. So still being shown some of that superiority, but I do think there is a potential for the McLaren dynamic if that superiority isn't shown. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But even like going through their press and stuff, it's still very respectful. Like they're still very respectful of each other. And it's kind of like a older brother, younger brother kind of relationship. Like sometimes they're teasing each other through the press, a little bit of banter, but that's not toxic. It's like, okay, you're just teasing each other. Like,
right.
Like it shows the strong connection that they have where it's not gonna be detrimental to their relationship if they make a little joke at the press.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think that's really like interesting.
Yes.
Just because I think being able to stay away from the toxic relationship that often drivers have is really helping them still be at the top and so far ahead.
Yes.
Because, you look at McLaren, they've obviously got their drivers have some tension sometimes, obviously not performing as well. Part of that is because they didn't start their races half the time, but still that's there. So yeah, and we saw that a lot last season too when Lando obviously beat Oscar, and that was a big topic of conversation was, well, Lando's younger, he doesn't really have the same superiority as Oscar would, and so why is Oscar being kind of pushed aside and all the focus is going to Lando? So I think Toto's done a really good job at like really separating them and just saying like, you race your own race, but at the end of the day Russell's going to have some superiority because he's 9 years older than you,
right?
So yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
In your opinion, like how do you think that the Mercedes team dynamic is different than McLaren and Ferrari?
Yeah, I think it's been really fascinating to watch over the first three races, right? And we've got a unique break, 5 weeks because of the cancellation of 2 races in the Middle East. And I think it's a great exercise to reflect on exactly what you're talking about. I think your breakdown was amazing, and I agree with everything. I think for Mercedes, first and foremost, this is the job of kind of leadership, right? No matter what the organization is to help everybody understand exactly what their role is, right? And sometimes that's empowerment, sometimes that's clear boundaries. And I think that Toto and the team have done a really good job with both Kimi and George to define that for them. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's working so well right now, along with some of the other things that you talked about. It was interesting. I was just, as you were listing some of your points, I was thinking about the race in Japan, the last one, a little over a week ago. And one of the big reasons why Kimi won that race instead of George was because of when they boxed, when they went to the pits, right?
Yeah.
And George was not happy, right? Russell was not happy. And he, because we get to see and hear everything during a race now, thanks to Apple, we heard him on his microphone, complaining and frustrated. But it wasn't at Kimi. And it wasn't really at Toto or the crew team. It was more just, man, that sucks, If we could have only known that there was going to be a safety car in the next lap or 2 laps later, whatever it was, we could have waited and not given up that space that we did because we boxed right before.
Yeah. Well, that's that's all about the respectful relationship.
That's right.
Like, you can be frustrated, but making sure that you're not taking it out at your teammate,
That's exactly
your
right.
driver is a big deal, because then it becomes a problem. You can't be mad at them because they're driving better than you.
Yes.
That's not fair.
Right. And he wasn't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think it will be interesting, because I think Russell has embraced that role of mentor. You know, because it was just a couple of years ago that he was kind of trying out for the number one role.
Yeah.
When Lewis announced that he was leaving, and obviously he got it. Now all of a sudden he's the big man.
Yeah.
And they bring in the kid. I mean, after 3 races, the kid's in the lead.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really interesting what happens over these 5 weeks away. And then over the next couple of races, because, and I think that's one of the things that the conversations that are probably happening with Russell right now, kind of on the side, like, listen, mentor is good.
Yeah.
Winning is more important.
Yeah.
And so both with the Mercedes team and his team, I would think, to some extent. So we'll see. We'll see how it evolves.
Yeah.
The more success that Kimi has.
Yeah.
But I think they're in a really good place. Comparing them to the other two big teams, right? McLaren and Ferrari. McLaren, you already touched on it. And we talked about it at the end of last season.
Yeah.
I don't see this panning out over the long haul, because there is no clear reason why one should be the number one driver versus the other, with the exception of the fact that Lando won last year.
Yeah.
But I think Piastri, I don't see it.
I think that both of those drivers, like Oscar and Lando, I see them how I see Max.
Yeah.
They want to win. They want to win all the time.
Yeah.
If they are not winning, they are mad at someone.
Well,
like, I love Max, but he can be a bit of a complainer sometimes, and he tends to blame things on Red Bull and the car. So I've also gotten that a little bit from Oscar and Lando.
Sure.
So I very much expect them. I mean, with the new changes to the cars, there are a lot of new teams that are getting ahead because they've benefited from the changes.
Yeah.
I very much see them going to be a number one driver at one of those teams. One of them moving.
It could very well happen, because in some ways I think about it like an NFL team having 2 number one quarterbacks, like quarterback competition.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Yeah.
Right? It happens every season. There's a quarterback competition. Rarely do you see somebody winning that out and then the other one sticking around for several years as the backup, right? Because in their mind, in their heart, they believe they should be a number one quarterback. And if it's not going to be there,
then they're going
to look for an opportunity somewhere else. And I think the situation at McLaren is similar to that. Ferrari is very interesting to me. In some ways, the most interesting of the three. I think Hamilton, he is kind of reborn so far this season after a really bad year last year, his first one at Ferrari. But then you got Leclerc, who should be number one again and could be number one again. Yeah. And at this point,
they have to pick someone.
Well, at this point, Ferrari is basically, just based on the first 3 races, have basically said, go at it, guys. And they're going at it. They are going at it.
Is good, but it's also taking attention away from the goal of winning. If you don't have someone who's, I don't want to say entitled, but given the position of a number one driver, then what do you do when both of your drivers are P1 and P2 right next to each other?
Well, and
you have to tell one of them, hey, let the other one pass you.
Right. And they're racing wheel to wheel right now.
Yes.
And that is a catastrophe waiting to happen.
I was just going to say that's dangerous, because they are constantly, P3, P4, P2, P3. It's constant right next to each other, and they're going to crash. Yeah. Like, they're constantly going back and forth. There is a point where it becomes dangerous.
Yeah.
If
240 miles an hour
if
around
there's
the turn.
no one telling them let the other one go, then you're going to hit a wheel and
That's
you're going to
right.
spin out and then you're going to crash and then you're not going to be able to finish and then you're not going to win and then
That's
you're
right.
not going to score points.
That's right.
So it's like good because I do see both drivers as very equal.
Yep.
You know, they've kind of gone back and forth all season so far.
Yes.
So I think I can understand where Ferrari's coming from not wanting to pick a number one driver because they are so similar.
Yes.
But you have to. Like,
I don't know that they're going to let them. I don't know that those two drivers are going to let them do that. And that's what's going to be interesting.
Well, and that's where, my opinion, Lewis and his age gets in the way a little bit. Because in my opinion, Leclerc should be the number one driver. Because I think he's more reliable than Lewis is. Lewis has really good races, but not all the time. And not last season. So I think Leclerc has earned that number one spot. And I think it's a little bit unfair to make them keep fighting each other for it. Which is like, I see the point. Yes, you want them to be better. But like, it's going to come down to something where like, it could turn into a McLaren. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I think they have respect for each other, which is better than McLaren has. But I think it can get dangerous very quickly. Like, it can escalate very quickly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Hamilton went to Ferrari with an understanding that he was going to be number two. That didn't happen. There's no way. So I think whoever races best will win. And hopefully they don't ruin a bunch of cars in the process. One last question that's on my mind, speaking of teams and team dynamics, and I don't know if you have an opinion or not, but there's a lot of speculation about Max heading out, leaving Red Bull, especially after the start of this year. Obviously, a couple of years ago, after Hamilton said he was leaving and then spent the entire last season, because it was before the start of his final season, at Mercedes, Toto went after Max.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out at the time. Yeah. But Toto made it very clear that he would love to have Max on the Mercedes team. So we're here again, except not because there's an opportunity to fill at Mercedes, but because Max and probably his father are with Red Bull. Yeah. So there's a lot of speculation that Mercedes is interested.
I don't think so.
No?
No. They're not going to give up a consistent number one and number two driver in all of F1, not their number one and number two, but the number one and number two. They're not going to give that up for, I don't see it happening. And also, okay, random idea here. They're trying to win constructors, obviously. Max on Red Bull, because their car isn't as good, even though Max is a great driver, they don't stand a chance at constructors. They also don't have the best number two driver. So that's just really not able to happen. And at this point, Max doesn't even really have enough points on his own to support.
I don't think it would happen mid-season.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, like,
what
if Kimi beats Russell for the champion or for total points?
I still don't see them.
He doesn't take Russell's spot. You know what's very interesting to me?
Okay, I could see Kimi taking the number one spot after this season if he beats Russell in total points. I don't see them giving up Russell unless Russell decides to leave because of Kimi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't see them, like...
I don't think Russell would leave.
I don't think Russell would leave, and I really don't think that they would give him away because...
For Max?
No, I don't think so. Because also... Why would you want... This is going to sound really weird. I don't really know how else to explain it. But if Max wants to go somewhere else, Ferrari's not taking him. McLaren's not taking him. Mercedes, I don't think they should take him. So where's he left with? He goes somewhere else. He doesn't have that great of a car. Doesn't have the best car.
We'll see.
I could see him being on a team with Ollie. I think that would be good.
Mm.
But again, not the best car. Good car, not the best car. So why would they want to take him when they still have the top drivers instead of just saying, well, okay, you can just go to this team and you'll be a good driver. You're not going to win constructors. You're not going to win drivers championship, but you'll be good. But we'll be better because we have top two drivers. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
I don't know how else to explain it in a way that makes sense, but like I hope that makes sense.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they should, but still got a long season to go, so you never know.
That's true. All right. Well, we still got 4 weeks before Miami.
Yeah.
And we'll be there. Can't wait, man.
Yes.
All right. Turning the page, moving on. Baseball. Baseball is in week 3. We already talked about. We're going tonight. One of the coolest. I want to take a little bit of time and talk about one of the, in my opinion, coolest new toys for Major League Baseball, and that is the ABS. So this is the robots. The robots are here. The robots are here for baseball. Actually, more specifically, there's a lot of cameras. So it's week 3, and there's been a lot of conversation. It's been in the headlines a lot as the season has started. There have been a total already through week 2 of 542 challenges in just 2 weeks, with 55.2% overturned. So better than 50% overturn rate. So the way it works, there are 3 different people on the field that can challenge a ball and a strike. Catchers, batters, and pitchers, right? Those are the only 3. Doesn't come from the dugout. Somebody might look over to the dugout, but the whole idea of this process is for it to be very frictionless and very quick, and not to slow down the game. So catchers, batters, pitchers. So far, catchers have a 60% overturn rate. So they're the leaders of the 3. Batters, 49.8, pitchers at 46. Kind of makes sense. The 2 that are the closest to where the ball is hitting the catcher's mitt probably have the best angle, right? Dylan Dingler from Detroit. He is 8 for 8 on defense. Only team with 0 defensive losses. The most aggressive team so far has been the Minnesota Twins. They have 32 challenges right now. And then the best team rate of challenges comes out of Detroit. The Tigers have a 75% success rate. A couple of notes for those that haven't been paying much attention to what kind of happens here. The human ump, there's still a human ump behind the catcher, still calls balls and strikes. If a player wants to challenge, they tap their helmet within 2 seconds. So it's got to be fast.
That's insane.
So a quick tap of the helmet, whether you're a pitcher, whether you're a catcher, whether you're a hitter, and then it goes right up to the scoreboard. And within 15 seconds, the scoreboard shows a video using all those cameras of where that ball in relation to the actual strike zone for that hitter. Yeah. Each team gets 2 challenges per game unless they get it right. So as long as if they challenge it and it's overturned, then they get that challenge back.
Which is why Minnesota has 32 challenges.
That's right. Yeah. So as long as you get it right, you can keep going. It's interesting. So one of the things to me that's most interesting about this is how the zone is calculated for all these cameras. So what they did was they measured every single player and confirmed their height before the season started for this system.
Yeah.
And it's all about math. So this is all fed into computers. The top 53.5% of the height, that's the top of the strike zone. So a little over 50% high in each individual, that's the top. And then the bottom is 27% of the height. And that's it. So what's really interesting about that is it doesn't take into account anybody's batter stance. So some are more hunched over than others. Some stand up more. Doesn't take that into account at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's just where it is if you're standing up straight. The other thing it doesn't take into account is how long your torso is proportionately, or how long your legs are. So theoretically, somebody could have like super short legs.
Yeah.
And so instead of the strike zone being the middle of your chest, it could be like up here.
Yeah.
Up by your neck.
Yeah.
Conversely, you could have really, really long legs, and the top of the strike zone could be like your belly button. And so,
Yeah.
it's, I think that piece is very interesting and different than balls and strikes have been thought about in the past. The other piece is the idea of framing pitches, which has been around for decades and decades and decades, is basically gone. So it used to be an art for a pitcher or a catcher to stand behind, squat behind home plate, and then subtly position their body and their glove to try to influence the call of the ump. It doesn't matter anymore at all. Doesn't matter if they catch it and move it over a little bit one way or another, because
can just replay
the cameras are watching, and it's all about math and real numbers at this point. So I think that's really, really interesting. I don't know that I want to be an umpire right now, especially Chad Whitson, CB Buckner, and Andy Fletcher, because these guys are being lit up over the first couple of weeks. Chad has had 7 out of 7 that he's been challenged, overturned. CB Buckner, he's just had a couple of really bad days. 6 out of 8 challenges have been overturned. And then Andy Fletcher has had 17 challenges, 15 of which have been overturned. And it all happens. One of the coolest things about all this is how it's being played out. And because it's going on the big screen every time there's a challenge. Like the crowd, there have been games where the crowd is cheering more loudly for a call being overturned for the home team than like a run being scored on the next play. So the crowd is really into it, which I think is really cool. Unless I'm the umpire. Then I don't think that would be so cool.
Well, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I think that's also interesting. Like, obviously, this is a little bit different than like the challenging system for the NFL. But you could easily compare the umpires to the refs. And how that's kind of influenced. And also, like, in football, you don't see that challenge, or like if the refs need to take more time to figure out a decision, you don't always see that real time. Like, it's happening in 15 seconds.
It's not quick. We're all deciding at the same time. Like, it's just going up on the screen. It's math.
Exactly.
There's like, no judgment.
It's so much quicker than football, which I think makes it a little bit more exciting. Like, you go to football games and it's like, okay, well, now we're standing here for 45 seconds waiting for the refs to do
go to a commercial
something.
break. We'll come back in a minute.
Like, now they're just doing like, this is like quick.
I'm excited to see it live tonight.
Yes, me too. I think it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's going to be really cool. So, yeah, I mean, that's an overview. There's already some examples of how it has influenced the outcome of games, because either they've been used too early, and then a pitch later on in the game was clearly then they were out of challenges
it's all
already.
About strategy, because you can get it back if you're right, which is good. I also really like that. Like, I think that should be in the NFL, because that makes it a lot more interesting.
It does make it interesting.
I also think it's interesting that the coaches or the managers, they can't do it. It has to be the players, which in 2 seconds, you're not looking over to see if your coach is like, go do that. Like, that's all about personal judgment.
That's right.
For your team. Like, it is impacting your team.
And listen, I think that there are some teams with younger players, rookies in those positions that have been instructed, hey, glance over real fast. But it has to be boom, boom, has to be within 2 seconds. So, it really is in the hands of the players. It's interesting. You talk about strategy. One of the early takeaways that all of the teams are already talking about is you can't use challenges with a count of 0-0. So it can't be like the first pitch of an at bat. They need to wait, because it's just not important enough if you don't get it. Well,
it's also like, if the score is 0-0, it's not like it's not going to impact that much. Wait for it to separate a little bit so that it's a little bit more important. If you need it. So.
So anyway, I'm intrigued. Can't wait to see it live. I think it's also radical, and it's also very different Baseball has gone through a lot of big changes after not changing much for 100 years.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan. What do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's good because it's very quick.
Yeah.
We've talked about how baseball has tried to decrease the amount of time that a game takes, which I think is good, which they have. But I think this is good because it's a way to make it more exciting without adding too much time. 17 seconds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's not long.
Nope.
So I think it's good that it's short.
Yeah.
I think it also builds player trust. Like, we're seeing the umps.
That's right.
So I think it builds player trust in the system and in the umps a little bit.
Yeah.
At least the ones that are doing their job well. And I think it's exciting. So yeah, I like it.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I'm for it, at least so far. Consistent calls across every park, every ump, every count, quick process. Another thing that I've thought about, though, just in the spirit of, looking forward, what does that mean for umps behind the plate? Do we still need them? Are we still going to need them in 5 years?
I think there would have to be a new system for them to get replaced because still 17 seconds. The umps are calling it faster than that. So I think in the future, they probably will, but it's still going to take more time. Now, if you can get an AI to immediately do it in a second with no challenges, because then at that point you eliminate challenges because AI is doing the work based off of the ABS system. So you would have to get some kind of platform to do that. But I don't think just with the new system and challenges that they'll go away.
I think it's interesting.
Because it's also what the challenges are based off of.
Yeah.
It's based off of the fact that the umps are incorrect. Right. So the system would have to go away.
Yeah.
Could use the same kind of programming.
Sure.
But add like AI immediate detection to have the umps like not necessary anymore. Yep. But it can't stay the same system and get rid of the umps. Because that's what the system is based off of.
I agree with you. I think, there's part of me that always tries to think outside the box and envision how far changes can go if we really just embrace it. I think, I was just having this conversation on Sunday, and I agree with the person I was having the conversation with. Man, I think that we still need the human being back there to make the initial calls. I think having the human layer adds to the appreciation, the experience of the game, as much as it is about the competition, and we don't want it to be about the referees or the umpires. I still think having them there to make those initial calls.
And that's what makes it entertaining. Like,
right.
You can see the crowd's getting hyped about the umps being wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's what kind of makes it entertaining. I did just have a thought that you could theoretically, so meta glasses, obviously you have some, becoming a big thing.
Big thing.
You could theoretically keep the umps, have them wear some sort of glasses. They're wearing have them wear some sort of glasses that has the ABS system built into them. So it has the square for them to see through. So theoretically they're seeing through a pair of glasses, seeing the square, seeing the ball move, making quick judgments based off that. You could keep the challenges because, again, human eye, but you're still getting that box. You're still having that, so it's already more accurate.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's good. That's really good.
I was just thinking about it because obviously you still want the umps there. That's what makes it exciting. Is like you have someone to be mad at. That's why the crowd gets excited.
Or somebody that has no challenges.
Yeah.
Reversed. Yeah. And it's like a badge of honor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think kind of building that, like using some sort of glasses with the same like measuring system and box, and you could even do it. I mean, you scan your phone and it can measure an object.
Sure.
Could do something like that, measures the player's stance.
Oh, yeah.
You can take the stance into account.
Well, it could
automatically forms the box.
You could use the system to call every pitch because it's cameras everywhere. and feed the answer right into the glasses.
Exactly.
And so,
and then it's still instant. You're keeping the keeping that human aspect.
But they're calling
but it's way more accurate.
What the computer is saying is truly a ball and a strike. I like that.
Yeah.
Call him up.
Thank you.
Whoever has contact info for the commissioner, let us know. Thanks. We got a good one for him. All right. Yeah. So that's baseball. That's ABS. I love it. I can't wait to see it tonight. We've not picked made our predictions yet for the season. So you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Mine are kind of like underdog picks a little bit. Not like underdog, but like not the Dodgers and the Yankees and, the same teams that seem to go.
What's wrong with picking the Dodgers?
The World Series
I didn't pick both of them.
No.
Just one of them.
No. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, they're really good teams.
Yeah.
You're
looking for
to pick someone different.
Yeah.
Like, got to switch it up a little bit. So I picked the Brewers and the Guardians because both of them had really good seasons last year. And obviously the Guardians had the longest winning streak at the end of the season. And the Brewers won their third NL or AL? NL. Central, in a row. Yep. So I could see them still improving and getting there. So those are my picks. If they both make it, I would probably pick the Brewers to win the World Series. But those are my picks. I just feel like they're both really good at just going till the end,
So you said Guardians or Brewers?
Yeah.
Guardians to win it all?
No, Brewers
to win it all. All right. Those are good picks. The Brewers have a shot. AL, I'm going Mariners. So they were one game away last year.
They were really close
from making the World Series.
Chip on their shoulder.
A reminder that Seattle is the only team left in Major League Baseball that has not gone to the World Series.
That's really sad.
And, oh, by the way, their football team just won it all. So I'm going with the Mariners. Still have a great rotation. Cal Raleigh's back. Julio Rodriguez. I think they're hungry. I think they got close. I think they've got a chip on their shoulder. So I'm going with the Mariners. NL, really wanted to go with the Cubs. And when Horton went down, it was confirmed today that he is out for the year. Boyd is also on the injured list early to start the year. I think, unfortunately, that puts their pitching rotation in question. So I got to go back to the Dodgers, who just
keep coming up.
They just keep, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Tucker. Shohei's going to pitch all year, for the full year this year. He's already started out strong. They've got rotation depth. They've got bullpen depth. They've got crazy offense. It's theirs to lose. The only question to me for the Dodgers is, will they find the same drive and motivation even after winning 2 in a row?
Yeah.
So those are my picks. Write them down, lock them in. And then finally, tradition like no others, the Masters starts tomorrow.
Yes.
Who you got?
Okay, well, I would pick Scottie Scheffler because obviously he's the best in the world right now. And I just think he just really wants it, I think.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't going to pick him, probably Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm.
Yep.
So probably one of them because they're both constantly up there.
Yep.
Competitive, but Scottie would be my first pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would pick Scottie too. I think, he wasn't in it at the end last year.
Yeah.
And that's when Rory finally got the monkey off his back and won his first Masters. So yeah, I think it's Scottie. I think it's Scottie's to win this year and come back strong and start off the year strong. If not Scottie, I'm going to go with Rory again. It's a bit of a long shot, but I do think he's a lot more relaxed since he did win it last year coming in.
It's the pressure's gone.
The pressure's off. It's a good course for him. He's a little banged up. He had to withdraw from the Arnold Palmer. Oh, we'll see. No player's gone back-to-back since Tiger in 2001, 2002. Scottie. But if not Scottie, I'm going with Rory.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Going to watch some with me?
Yeah, I'll watch a little.
Got your first long course meet?
Yeah.
This weekend?
Yeah.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Good.
Yeah.
And then right around the corner, NBA and NHL kick off their playoffs in just about 10 days. And the end of the month, NFL draft live in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
You want to know something? I have passes, but no way to get there and don't think we can take the time.
What? You're kidding, right?
No. They're free. I just signed up for them. NFL draft. Honey, you want to go? All right. We might go. We'll let you know how it is.
Yeah, you better.
Good reason to go to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Not for Thursday. I have it for Friday.
Okay.
And here's the weird thing. Like, you can get passes through NFL.com. This is for everybody. I think they're still available. But they don't guarantee you a seat, like, inside where the picks are happening. So you're just, like, in the city. You get to come to the city, but maybe not necessarily go watch the draft. So that's the thing.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. My first time looking. I think I got an email. I don't know.
How interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, good stuff to look forward to.
Yep.
You want to take us home?
Yep.
Cool.
Make sure to follow, like, comment, subscribe, watch on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Threads, Stats and Chats. Love to hear your feedback.
Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Excited to be back. Enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.